Many of you will be familiar with this piece of technology. Many of you will not be, perhaps. Some of you are looking puzzled. Why is it here? Because MOD is a science centre. And when I first set out to create MOD, everyone got very excited because they said, oh, it's going to be the Investigator Science Centre. I didn't grow up in Adelaide, so I don't know the Investigator Science Centre. But I have been to Questacon, and I've been to SciTech, and they're doing amazing things. But also, they were all built between 1988 and 1992. And that was the dominant technology. I know because I was in high school at that time, and I desperately wanted one of these. So we're talking about a history of science centres that have been created at the same time that a Walkman has been created, before the internet has hit, where everything is really exciting and the potential of technology to shape the world is really important. If we understand how technology works, then we can create something new. And so it's around direction. If you know how to do this stuff, if you have the technical skills, then you can apply it to do exciting things. I spent most of my 90s and 2000s working in science communication, and in the 90s we hit biotechnology, genetically modified tomatoes. And suddenly knowing about the science wasn't enough for us to say, yes, we want to do that. And so science communication generally set up this space for dialogue. So the Dana Centre in the UK was set up, where people who brought opposing views could come together and debate situations. So that instead of one direction, you were able to appreciate a range of perspectives, worked through dialogue. Then we had this in the mid-2000s, which results in this, which is Copenhagen in 2009. So when I started looking at climate change, it was probably mid-2000s. And by the time I got to Copenhagen in 2009, we knew exactly what we needed to do in order to stop climate change, and we chose exactly not to do anything. So, dialogue doesn't work. It doesn't actually get us to the point at which we decide. All dialogue does is polarise us. And it doesn't get us anywhere. And so what we started to see around climate was storytelling, narrative, giving depth, talking to people about their experiences, positioning it in new ways. There was a beautiful project called How Do I Feel, which was an art exhibition of comments and letters from climate scientists about how they really felt about climate. So it's not just the information here we're talking about. It's not just having dialogue from different perspectives, it's bringing story. And I think those stories allow us to do this. They allow us to spark this science curiosity. So, the story draws you in. The story wants you to find more answers or wants you to explore something more deeply. And I really like this quote because I think at MOD what I'm trying to do is encourage that science curiosity. We want it to spark curiosity in people and for people to say, as Sue said, I'm still thinking about that. What does that mean? And if we know these things that we know from our scientific backgrounds, then we have a moral obligation to be able to find solutions. And so for me, those two things have really set up how I've decided to think about MOD. So it's understanding that history of science communication, which says direction is not sufficient, dialogue is polarising, we need stories, we need narrative, we need people to be encouraged to be scientifically curious, and quite frankly, we have to. It's our obligation to be doing it.